Welcome to GME Admin Insights, the go-to podcast for GME community. I'm your host, Natasha Brox, and I'm here as your source for tips, valuable resources, and all things GME. Ready to level up your coordination skills? Well, let's dive in. So, I want to talk about the Intern and Resident Information System, better known as IRIS, and why program coordinators, program managers, just the program administrators, the GME community altogether need to understand and know and learn about this, right? So Iris is a critical component in the world of GME. And it plays a significant role in the financial aspects of academic medicine centers. So let's dive into why this system is so important and how a program administrator fits into the whole big picture. And I'm doing this because, when program coordinators, administrators, whatever, when they start out, um, they really don't know about Iris. Um, when you're in the GME community, there's so many things that you have to learn anyway. And they always say that it takes 3 good years for you to know your role and learn your role and understand your role. And 3 years of how this fits into this and how that works with that and everything, comes together. And that is so true. Um, and depending on if you have a GME office or not, it could take longer because you're doing both roles, right? So Iris. A lot of coordinators, they don't know about Iris. It's crazy because like when let's say you get hired into your coordination role and it was already there functioning or whatever. All you're doing is going in, sitting in that seat, and you're working, right? Everything is set up. You're running off of what was already done. But what if it wasn't set up right? What if it wasn't done right? And I'm not sure about you, but if you ever had like the regional office call, wanting information, um, wanting why is this resident here, just anything, you're like, what? So it's very important for coordinators to understand Iris, how to use it, how to learn it, how to set it up, all of that. And what is it and who is it tied into? And see, for me, I like to dissect things, right? I like to know all the little components of things, all the little details in order to see the big picture, right? So what is Iris? Why is it needed? What do I have to do with Iris? What so I need to know all that. Because for me, what I know, like the big picture of things, when I see how Iris fits into my role, then I'm like, okay, so I need to ensure that I set everything up correctly, or like I'm, entering my schedules, where my residents are going, my PLAs, all of that. So I have my work and my task correct. So it will help, you know, um, the regional office, the director, anybody who has to deal with it after me. It will help them with less errors, if any errors at all. Um, and it's an easier workload on somebody else if I have my stuff together. Then we can move forward. And I don't really like touching things twice or sending off incorrect stuff or putting it in the system. And I know for me, when we started emergency medicine, all of those details had to be inputted, right? So from the start, if it's input right, then moving forward, it could be correct. But you do have those times that things are moved around on your block schedule, right? So, some things is moved around, FMLA, babies. And so you have to still ensure that when you move one component around, and we use new innovations. So when you move one thing around in new innovations, you really have to, you update one, but you have to update like two or three other things. And so you can't just move this in the scheduling view or whatever without moving anything else. It's kind of like you did nothing. And so it can throw off your schedules. It can throw off the information that's in Iris that the regional office needs. So this is why I say it's important to know about Iris and how it affects you and your work. Okay. So at its core, Iris, and see, a lot of people, back up just a little bit, a lot of people didn't know. I shouldn't say people. When I say people, I'm talking about program coordinators, managers, some of the coordinators. Okay. So this is all for the GME community anyway. But a lot of coordinators didn't know what Iris stands for. But Iris is the Intern and Resident Information System. Okay. That's what Iris stands for. So, at its core, Iris is a database and it in a reporting system that academic, centers, us use to manage and report information about our residents and fellows, if you have them, to the Medicare uh, system, and they approve our GME, GME program. So any residents and fellows participating in Medicare approved GME programs, right? This is what is being reported to CMC. So this information includes detail about their training, the time spent in the program, and other demographics. It has like their social security number, medical school, diploma, stuff like that. When they graduated, all kind of stuff. But why is this relevant? People ask all the time. Why? Why is where the residents go, what they're doing, why is this resident? Well, it's all about the money. It is. It's all about the money. You got to think it's a Medicare. So if you're a Medicare approved GME program, it's about that money. Okay. Iris is used to like calculate the amount of reimbursements that the hospital receive from Medicare for both direct and indirect costs associated with GME programs, right? In simpler terms, it helps secure federal funding for these programs, which are funded by like the federal government through Medicare and Medicaid, as well as by state governments and teaching institutions. So understanding IRIS is absolutely critical for like the finances, well-being of GME programs. We need that money to run, but we need the money. We need the money for the residents, for the program, to help the residents, for the institution, you know, and that's what keeps everything running. Okay. So one of the key metrics of IRIS is the concept of a full-time equivalent. Everybody knows about FTEs, right? So an FTE represents the full-time equivalent it takes a resident to complete 1 year of training. One. And you have to think, this is on a fiscal year, not a calendar year, and every week starts July 1st. So one full equivalent of a fiscal year, July to June, end of June, right? This metric is vital for accuracy reporting and calculating costs related to GME. So accruing the report. So when you accrue the report, right? In the IRIS system, it is essential to the academic center. Let me see. Let me start over. Accurate reporting. These reporting, they have to be accurate. They have to be very detailed and very accurate in the IRIS system. Like I said, we use new innovations to put all of our information in. Okay, so this accurate reporting in the IRIS system is essential to ensure that academic medical centers receive appropriate levels of financial support from federal and state governments. So without this financial support, it will be challenging for to sustain any type of GME programs. That is the short and long end of it all. So everything has to be accurate to where like the residents are going. you know, so that way we can get our money and we can have programs. We can even extend programs. You know, we went from 6 to 7 residents. So it all has to be entered in correctly. This is another reason why program coordinators need to know and understand about IRIS. So, why do programs coordinators need to know about IRIS? I just said it. But we also play a pivotal role in the process, right? Um, we are responsible for collecting and managing the data related to the residents' rotations and demographics. So you got to think when you do your onboarding, you're getting this information from the residents. So you have their demographics, you're collecting their diploma, their social security information, their school information, when they graduated, um, all of this stuff. You're collecting all of their documents. So then the rotating resident rotation, the block schedule is built. So then we know where they're going. But like I said earlier, sometimes something may happen to where, oh, they're not going to toxicology. Oh, okay, well, I have to redo that. So keeping accurate information on this is essential. So some of the demographics, it can include maintaining like the rotation schedule, gathering documents, like I said, ensuring the accuracy, like I said, all this information. So it it's essential that it is done correctly. So we oversee all of this. They are we are, not that you guys, we are the guardians of the galaxy. No, but we are the guardians of the data. It is crucial for securing the funding that we need for our program. So gathering and entering this information is essential for the funds that we get um, for our programs. This is why we, as coordinators, we need to understand what IRIS is, how to use it, how to enter it, because it's crucial. I think most coordinators, they don't, when they first come into their role, they don't know and they don't understand and they don't know how it benefits or hurts the program. So this is essential for anybody that is collecting and gathering this information. So I know that the Medicare cost report, if you ever seen it, you should always check into it. It's a crucial document for like funding, and it relies heavy on the information contained within the IRIS database. And like I said, ours, when we put everything in, it's in within new innovations. It's too many N's. It is within new innovations. Okay. So without a thorough understanding of IRIS and the correct documentations, it would be challenging for like medical centers to attest to the accuracy of their cost report and comply with reporting requirements set by the CMS, right? So inaccurate or incomplete reporting can result in reduce of funds, which we do not want, which could have a significant impact on the finance, like the stability of your program and your institution. So we don't want decreased funds. We want increased funds. So we know that IRIS is a lifeline. It's a lifeline for academic centers, for GME, for programs, for the institutions, for all of us in securing these funds, through Medicare and Medicaid. And as coordinators, we have to ensure that we input this accurately in, into the IRIS database. And it is essential that not only that we input it, but we know what it is. And I usually, I didn't say usually, I started looking over the Medicare cost reports, like, what's going on? Especially when you see, like, especially years past, different programs closing and stuff. But when you understand and maintain the iris effectively, we as coordinators, we help maintain um, financial support necessary, right? Um, for our programs. We contribute to the training and the healthcare for, residents and fellows. So it's on us. We make a difference in our GME community, which is another reason I always like to go back to. That's why we are leaders. That's why we are leaders in what we do, because we are the ones getting the information, inputting the information. But also, with that said, if you put it in wrong, if it's inaccurate, who does it come back to? It comes back to you. This is why you need to understand it and make sure you're inputting it correctly. Now, I know for our program, we only really had one for a long time. Now we have five, six. We've been expanding, so I really, forget how many we have. We're growing every day. But inputting this information right is essential. I can't stress enough why coordinators need to know and understand iris. Because I feel like if you know before, like when you're new and you sit in that seat and you understand and you know iris, then from day one, you can start ensuring that all the information is correct, right? You can ensure that you're inputting or you're getting the information needed from residents when they come on and on board correctly. You can get the information and enter it correctly. This is why coordinators need to know iris, what it is, why it's important. And I don't think that's one thing a lot of programs do when they hire coordinators. Um, well, I'll say this is all like me. I know, like, if I was first in my role, if I knew, then I'm like, oh, okay. But the GME office, some programs, the GME office takes care of it. But it's still something that coordinators need to know and understand, because they still play a pivotal role in getting the documents or the block schedule, updating the block schedule when it changes. If somebody's moving around, if somebody's taking FMLA, if somebody needs to be extended, things like that. These are all the things that um, impact the IRIS report. So, I just wanted to ensure that if you don't know what the IRIS report is, now you know, and do some more research on it. Get to know, and how does the IRIS report affect you in your program? Do you deal with it? Do you deal with it and don't even know that you deal with it? Like, you're putting all this information in, but you don't know that it's part of the IRIS report. And then, you'll get questioned later, usually like at the end of July or the beginning of July. You'll get a question about, oh, was this and this and this? You're like, oh yeah, they changed here. You probably don't even know that someone is looking at your report and correcting it or updating it or ensuring that it is correct to send over, like, to our regional office. I was getting that, and I was like, what? Yeah, oh yeah, this and this and this. Oh, okay, thank you. It was coming from the regional office, because they have to ensure that everything is correct before they send it to Medicare so they can get paid appropriately. Not only that, especially if residents are going to outside facilities, inside other facilities, you have to ensure it's correct. If they move, if they are supposed to go outside, but they say inside, that needs to be updated because they said inside, so we need that money. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important. Understanding this, it helps in the long run, because now I need to ensure that everything is correct. So that's just a little tidbit about the IRIS system, but know it for yourself. What's your IRIS system? Is it MedHub? Is it New Innovation? Do you have something else? Like, how do you play a role with Iris in your institution, if you play one at all? Like, these are the things that try to understand and reflect on it so that way moving forward, it will help your professional development. It will help you grow and ensure that you're keeping things correct and accurate for um, for everyone else behind the scenes in the regional office when they send it to CMS, right? Okay, so again, that's a wrap. Um, we conclude another engaging, enlightening episode. And remember, your dedication keeps the gears of GME turning, and your growth matters. So continue to grow. Okay? Until next time.